On this Friday morning, TGIF Social Square, we're taking a look at the youth agenda, just getting to hear young people's voices on the state of the nation, matters BBI and the economy. Of course, in case you're just tuning in, you're finding us now discussing the BBI. Let's take a look at your feedback before we can toss it back to our panel. Ogero, you're saying this morning youth are part of the problem in Kenya. They always retreat to their tribal cocoons like their political masters and elders in every election cycle. Tribalism is a cancer.
We'll talk about that and find out from them. Is it true that youth usually retreat to their tribal cocoons? Engineer Lazaro, good morning. It's good to hear from you as always this morning. Youth have been shooting themselves in the foot by praising and scampering for the money from the economy looters instead of courageously presenting their memorandum to these retirees. Youth unemployment is a serious threat than terrorism. Okay. All right, Nahashan87, good morning. You say, can we mention youth specifics in BBI? Why is it that everyone sings the chorus praising BBI, but they avoid the verses that should add weight to the chorus? BBI is so shameful that the people who support it avoid mentioning its content at all costs. But Ouna says, imagine, Akuna, the youth tunadanganywa, yet they use us in the BBI rallies as hecklers, security men and women, etc. So sad. Okay, still sticking to Twitter, Sam, you're saying one of the penalties of refusing to participate in politics is that you end up being governed by your inferiors. And we'll talk about that, political participation of young people. Wake up, youth, your time is not nay, it's now. All right. Global youth, that's what you call yourself. Interesting name. Most youth in Kenya want free things, lazy and keen to be used by politicians. No one serious wants to work with lazy people. The serious youth are being taken seriously and being given opportunities. Nimo, welcome to the show. Is that true? Anyway, we'll talk about that in just a bit. And that's where we want to pick it up from. Nimo, a lot of discussion around this. Nimo Sheikh is now joining the conversation here with us in studio. Nimo, thank you so much for making time. She represents, she is the KUSO chair. You're finding us just discussing BBI, and as you've seen some of the feedback coming from most of the viewers, are young leaders, are young politicians any different? Even we as young voters, are we any different from our parents and how they voted?
I'll start by saying from Handshake, we found BBI. Yes. But that does not mean that we fully support BBI, because in most cases, the youth are not mostly involved in this BBI. Some of the things that were in the report, like things to do with inclusivity, that one we agree, because as for me, I'm from a marginalized community, and that makes me like feel I can be the president of this republic one day, one time. So in the current system, it is hard for somebody from marginalized community to be the president of the Republic of Kenya. Do you think with BBI inclusivity point right there, that you being a woman, a Muslim woman from a majority community, that you stand to be president tomorrow? Yes. Will BBI give you that chance? I think that part of the inclusivity will give me that opportunity to become the first female Somali Muslim president of this country. So are young leaders any different, or are they just the same caliber of leaders? Once they enter the system just, you know, makes them and turns them into the same politicians. Are we any different, even as voters? I wouldn't say we are any different, but remember, youth are very energetic, and they are, they have the zeal of, they have a bright future. I mean, they're always thinking of how we can have a better country or a better future in this beautiful nation. So it makes them, like, if you give an opportunity to a youth, we do not want you to, like, somebody to support me because I'm a youth or something like that. But if I'm competent enough and I'm a youth, do not see me as like a young person. This lady is too young, she cannot do ABCD. Do not see me as that way. But if I'm competent enough and I'm young and energetic, then why not give me the chance to lead the country? For instance, in the part I'm from, the northern Kenya, we have something like negotiated democracy. And for me, as a woman and a young person, if I go back to my county today and ask for votes, and I'm competent enough, they will not vote me in because they think, oh, you're too young, you're not married probably, So such kind of issues.
So how young people vote, how we vote, is it any different from how our parents vote, or do we have the same voting
I'll
patterns?
agree with the lady on Twitter who said that youth are the problem of this country. Because number one, why are we always complaining that, oh, the youth are not being included? Oh, why don't we vote in a youth? We should have given this chance to a youth, while you yourself, you're not giving that chance to the youth when the youth is on the ballot.
Yeah. But
You
Keter,
get-
but Keter is one of the members of parliament who's nominated. Are you any different?
What I will say is the struggle must continue, and as long as we live, we must defend. Battles we can win every day, and victory we can achieve every day in small steps. And so far we have achieved a lot in the youth space. That is why, from the region I come from, that is the Rift Valley, 98% are purely youth, if you look at the composition. So each region, each community have their own struggles, and they need to start from somewhere.
Isn't this where the problem lies? From the region you come from. That's
Yes.
what you said. There's
From
an
the
entire
region,
country.
that is why
you are a
she's-
representative for all the youth in the
entire country. And it is a big challenge, I agree. But as we move forward, we need to move as a country. And we'd have to start from the different regions that we are coming from.
Yeah.
They are struggling from the Northeastern. They are struggling with the negotiated democracy, and women are not included. That is why where we've come from, the women have achieved a lot. They have improved from in the kitchen, and right now they are in government, they are women representative. As a country, I think they have provided a very good platform for women to show up in leadership. Now young people is a rally call.
Gideon, are the young politicians in parliament any different, or once they enter the system,
Yes, they are
corrupts them?
different. They're different. When
Are
it
they?
comes to issues related to Mwananchi, they don't participate, or they don't become partisan. They only look at the issues. And if you look at how also the kinds of bills
And
they share.
disagrees, but we'll see.
Yeah, it is true. When you look at how, even the reception, I will not say the entire country have been very mean to youth. They've been very receptive to youth. That is why you find some, like John Paul Murigi, who was a student leader and an independent, and voted into parliament. Meaning our society are getting more educated, they are becoming more receptive to young people. What we just need to do, we shouldn't stop. Let's continue and participating. Even this BBI arena has been set. Let's participate meaningfully.
Yeah.
Let's criticize. Let's put on our ideas. Let's struggle together.
Okay.
Because we don't want one day we will say they did this and we didn't participate.
Okay.
Ignorance is not an excuse.
So Nimo, is this a system issue or a governance problem? Because then, is this an issue of the system that you can't really change it as an individual, or is it the people themselves who are
System.
perpetrating these
course.
atrocities on themselves?
Of course, it's the system, but also the notion, or the notion that our people, that those people in government are selling, the common wananchi, some of them in mashinani, they're not educated.
Yeah.
So whatever that is in the media, that is covered in the media, or they hear from the media, or the wave, they go with the wave sometimes. So that's why I wanted to say that even as the group, the BBI task force group, go from one county to another to collect ideas or how we can better the report.
Yeah.
Let us also borrow some ideas from Punguza Mzigo, because we cannot ignore the fact that Punguza Mzigo had good ideas. Yes, but the inclusivity part, I think I will support BBI in that. But the youth of this country have the highest population, and they are not included in this BBI. Yes, we had youth for BBI, but right now, as they collect ideas and as they talk to the Wananchi, you have not seen.
But look at the stadiums and how full they are.
They are full, yes, but we want to be stakeholders. We want to be part of this process.
Mm-hmm.
As the country goes for a change, we need to be in that process,
Right.
So that's why on 14th Feb, I'm calling all the youth in Nairobi County to come to Fungomano House so that we discuss how BBI should better the lives of the youth.
That's Valentine's. You think they'll be there?
Michael, you're a bit quiet before we come to Anne's points as she's writing them down. Michael, you seem quiet. Are you confident about the leadership in this nation in terms of even we as voters?
Even if we revamp it into a younger generation.
Yes, and if
will it make a difference?
And tomorrow we're the ones who are going to go back and put these leaders in position. Are we voters any different? Will young people vote any different come 2022? So we can say, hey, our parents chose this, but we are choosing this for our nation.
I think first, I think most young people actually are very ignorant when it comes to politics. They wait to be told this is the direction we are going. So some of them is a matter of preference. And as we were saying earlier, I vote because my tribe or the way I've been programmed is I'm more of this region, so I'll vote this way. However, I think the young leaders in this country who have actually done a lot of things that benefit the youth, but as the youth, we don't take up those opportunities. One example is like Honorable Sakaja Johnson. He came up with the bill for the 30%. I've not seen youth actually fight at whatever level you're in, whether it's at your counties or whether it's at national government, and actually demand to be included in that 30% and to get that job. And I've not seen people actually go and try. And you see, also I think, okay, but there's the issue of processes and I don't know what in government, which also makes it harder for you to access. I think, let's face facts. We are managed as young people by government and leaders here using policy that for you when you get there it becomes even more difficult.
But like you're saying, is it because young people are lazy, young people are ignorant? There's a TIFA report that came out in December that said young people between the ages of 18 to 24 haven't even read the BBI. It's only 25 years and above. So are young people themselves also at fault for being ignorant?
We're ignorant to politics. You know, remember this, the young guys today, what are their struggles? I move from day to day on, I can hustle, I sell a skirt on WhatsApp, my friend calls me, we do this, so their problems are managed day to day, right? However, on a holistic level, I think it's time youth wake up and actually say, okay, this 30% you guys told us about government, you're making it difficult for us. Remove A, B, C, D clauses and put Honorable Gideon a task to go to parliament and insist. Make the process easy. That way, people also need it. Because me, I also believe, the more people are eating as a nation, everybody's stomach is full, the crying will stop. And we'll stop thinking about each other as, where are you from? Because we are now equals. You understand? I think that's where the thing should be.
I will answer the first question, which was about the stadiums being full.
Yes.
The stadiums are full because they mobilize for the stadiums to be full. One, as a youth and I am jobless, I don't have anything that I am doing that day, and I hear the people are going to be at my stadium. I will go there so that I can, one, look for a way of getting a handout. Two, look for a way of crying to my mheshimiwa or any other mheshimiwa, tell them I have this problem, can you help me? So majority of the times you find these youth are therefore very expectant, but they're not expectant to hear about BBI because...
So we're part of the problem?
Yes, we're definitely part of the problem because one, we just go there so that we're mobilized to go there. Two, we're waiting so that maybe there'll be handouts after that, or maybe get an opportunity to have a selfie with one of these mheshimiwas because, again, we are a social media kind of group, so it's all for PR. I was with this mheshimiwa today, and therefore I will go to all of the stadiums so that I can take pictures with them and seem relevant enough on social media. People will continue thinking that yes, I have made it in life, of which it's not true. Secondly, Mheshimiwa Katara talked about having presented to the BBI task force, and a lot of things that he presented were not actually included, which is true. I was one of the people who presented to the BBI. A lot of the things that we presented as youth for BBI with Nimo Sheikh were also not included. I think part of the problem is lack of inclusion. If you look at the BBI task force team, it is full of older people, no offense. It is, why didn't they include a young person who would also, because of course they couldn't have put all the recommendations, they had to sit them out. But if they had a young person there, that person could have championed for these issues. And that's why when Mheshimiwa talks about having youth elected positions given to the youth so that they are more in parliament, that is actually something that I would support, because if he's one person championing for something and we have a group of people championing for the same thing, which one would be likely to go? The one for the group. So first and foremost, if they're talking about inclusion, let us see inclusion even from the beginning, where the BBI task force also includes a young person so that they can have a fresh kind of thinking, so that issues of the youth are not just brushed off as they usually complain. They're always saying this. Why don't they help themselves? How can we help ourselves? Yet the government will borrow more from banks, and when we go to borrow from banks, they don't want to give us loans so that we can start our small businesses because
you have no collateral.
Yes, we have no collateral. So we can't help ourselves. It's up to them to help us so that we can be able to help ourselves.
Yes. Jennifer, what do you think of this issue? Is it time for a new leadership, and what does that new leadership look like? Because they say the youth are the majority. So if they decide that they're going to vote for somebody completely different from what the old guards thought of, it would actually happen.
Yes, and now I speak as a young person in this country. These are not the views of the United Nations. So yes, I'll take you back to sessional paper number 10 of 1969. That was the founding paper in terms of policy in this country. And it set out a few things that these people, or rather the current leaders and generational leaders, should have dealt with. Education, that's illiteracy. We had health. We had, I think, agriculture. There were basic things, and disease, eradication of disease. It is unfortunate that some of us still have to deal with these issues to date.
Yes.
You know, 50 years post-independence. It is very unfortunate. And that just speaks to our failure in governance structures, our failure in how we have, you know, designed these things, and also the fact that most of us, when we jump into leadership, we're not preparing enough. And this is where now the fresh faces come into. Yes, there's need for young people to now decide to take the mantle and do things differently, because you realize the millennial generation here, we think different. We want a quick change, which is not a bad thing if you're prepared for it and whatnot. But we also need to realize if you're getting into leadership, you need to be prepared. Now we have leaders who've gotten into young people who've represented us in governance, and we see them on TV every day, and they're doing a lot and whatnot. But you can't help but feel a sense that people are not prepared. You do not understand how to organize an economy. That's why we are not able to represent youth issues properly. You do not understand basic governance issues. So if you just jump into leadership because you got the numbers, for example, from student leadership, and then you want to just jump into government leadership, assuming the same will be, it's a different ballgame. When you talk of being prepared,
you mean that they don't understand what the role comes with, or is it because most of the nominated positions are given to them by the political people anyway? So they're pretty much an extension of the same power you're trying to overturn.
Exactly, it's a both thing. A lot of young people are not taking time to prepare, to understand what leadership entails, how to actually lead. If you're leading a constituency, for example, what are the needs? You know, a lot of them, I know you can't study everything at university. For example, I studied law. I don't assume that I know economics, but surround yourself with people who understand these things. So that when you're actually implementing these policies, they are sound policies, they are sound ideas. So that's why in the long run, you see a lot of leaders, your political lifespan is short, because it comes to a point when you're not offering young people anything anymore.
And that's the thing right there. Gideon, just picking up from what Jennifer has also said, do young people care even about what's happening in the country? Political participation from young people to say, hey, this is the person I voted in as my member of parliament, my woman rep, etc. Let me hold them accountable, whether it's on social media or face to face. Do young people even care about what's happening in the economy, in the country?
Well, I believe youths care about what is happening in the economy, but then we're not given that space to address it.
Here's the thing, do they care enough to take action?
I believe they care enough. You can see the other case in Kasarani where people went to the streets because of bad roads. They could not access their homes, they could not access their places of work because of poor roads. And these were youths who led this kind of demonstrations. This means that the youths in the country are out to fight for their space. And I want to urge all youths outside there, fight for your space. Never wait for someone to fight for your space. Don't wait for Honorable Keter to fight for your space. Fight for your space as a youth. Because we are the youths, we know what the problems that are affecting us. Unemployment. How can the government help us in bridging the occupational immobility? How can the government help us in bridging the geographical immobility? Through this, as youths, if we step up, we can ensure that we as youths get a place in government, get a place in the society, get a place in workplaces. So I believe the youths, it's time we take up the mantle to fight for our space. And also, you see, the major reasons why you see youths are in these political rallies, the major reason you see these youths are in these political offices, like you see, Honorable Keter, when he goes to his office, you'll find youth throwing that place. They want handouts. Why? Because of unemployment. That's the major reason, and something we're escaping from. Unemployment is the main obstacle to youths flourishing in this country.
The youth keeping people in power accountable, from the president himself to the chief justice to that member of parliament to that MCA.
They are, yes, but these people are inaccessible. These people are inaccessible. Let me ask you a question. You're here. Are you able to call your member of parliament right now and tell them there's a problem in the constituency? Can you access them? You cannot.
But during election year, they can access you.
Yeah, they can access you.
That's the irony.
They'll even come to your place. There are instances like in Kisi. You get someone coming to campaign at night giving you 1,000. This guy is looking for you in your house. But then when you look for them after you're giving them that position, they're not there.
Michael, you are nodding your head when I asked about keeping everyone accountable, from the powers, from the president to the MCA.
You know, let me tell you, if we can learn how to keep these guys' chairs hot, they will do the work. For example, your MP is always in your village every Sunday.
Yes.
Then we go there and clap for the guy in church, and then he's there, Mweshimiwa, Mweshimiwa. Your shida is your stomach, not community.
So even you are selfish as an individual.
I mean, let's be realistic. If it's in my village, we all wake up. Sunday, the guy comes, fine. He will not leave that church. Boss, you told us this thing you're going to do. What's happening? You do that 3 Sundays in a row. The next Sunday he'll come with money for roads. These guys have to learn that sometimes, at some point, it's going to lipuka. That's what I see. And it's going to be bad for everybody. And I think it's time we call a spade a spade. Youth, we either wake up, because we always vocal on social media. If I put something up, you don't like it because you don't have it, you start bashing me. See, we go and bash somebody else who's actually supposed to be giving us the same equal platform to do the same things we're all doing. I think that's where the catch should be.
Gideon, please hold your comments.